Hello and welcome to some Star Citizen ship and vehicle updates with the Misk Hull C, that mighty hauler coming to Alpha 3.20, including some cargo updates here as well, the Xi'An SanTokYai medium fighter, and the Tumbril Storm light tank. We've got a load of information about where they are in development and some other questions that are answered about them. So the Misk Hull C is coming to Star Citizen Alpha 3.20. It's a massive cargo hauler for bulk cargo, the largest cargo ship we've had in-game by some huge margin. It's been quite long in the tooth as well. It was paused in its development at multiple points due to priority changes or technical challenges, be they the setup for the ship's sort of spindles and expandability and contracting, or persistent energy streaming, object container streaming, all this sort of stuff. Over the last year, they've been able to get through those challenges and now are close to finishing the ship. For Alpha 3.20, the ship will function as intended, they said. So it will be able to contract and expand out with its spindles. There is a large expandable corridor through the center of the ship that you can walk through even while it's expanding out. How will the cargo with the Hull C work in 3.20 though? Because that's the main thing, right? The ship can't land or take off with its cargo spindles extended. It can dock with space stations still when it's extended, but you can buy cargo when it's landed and it's in its compressed form still. But when you leave a station, you can then expand out, and then you'll contact the air traffic control, the ATC again, and that will go over to this designated area, and your cargo will then start to spawn. While contracted and compressed, it will fit in the large hangars in-game. I'm just assuming that while it's docked to a station, when it's in its expanded form, it can just sort of buy cargo as normal, and that will be delivered on the ship, and without having to go to its sort of little side area. They've got the ship to its gold standard as well with their current tech, so there's a load of tactile buttons, openable cupboards, compartments for components. It's really got a great looking setup. The doors look cool. There's a big chunky airlock in the rear of the ship. That's sort of like for the engines in the engineering section, big engineering section there. There wasn't any talk of using tractor beams to move containers on and off the ship for 3.20 specifically. I would expect that we can do that with smaller boxes with the hand tractor beam still, but they didn't mention like ship scale tractor beams here, which had me a bit disappointed. We're going to get them at some point for sure, and that will be one of the ways we move these giant containers around ships. We'll have to wait and see if there's any more surprises coming with 3.20 though. How much cargo space is there with the Hull C then? Currently, it appears to have 9,216 SCU. How much is that really tangibly? That's the same amount of space as I believe 16 caterpillars can carry. Eventually, we're going to get the Hull D and E. They're ridiculous sized. They're significantly bigger than the Hull C. After recording that bit, I did see that John Crew had posted, actually, it's 4,608 SCU. The 9,216 was a bug on the day the footage was recorded. Double the cargo grids had crept in per arm for a couple of builds. That's still 8 caterpillars worth. 8 caterpillars of cargo space. There is a concern to me that when the 3.20 is launched and we get the Hull C, that cargo and hauling gameplay will be balanced around the Hull C, and other ships might not really be balanced properly. So in that sort of nightmare vision, that would mean that you'd get very low profit margins from any other ship that's not the Hull C, because the Hull C just wins because it can have so much cargo, it will make you a ton of cash, and if it's sort of balanced so that all ships can make a good amount of money, well, can't the Hull C just do that at a huge scale? So we're going to have to wait and see, but we did see a cargo transfer timer on the Hull C, which could mean in 3.20 there might be maybe longer times if you're getting loads of cargo loaded and unloaded. Maybe there's costs associated here. That and potentially issues with it not being able to visit planets, because I don't think it can visit planets while in its sort of expanded form. So that means you wouldn't be able to sell there, right? So you only have to be able to sell at certain stations, and which could mean that maybe your price margins are just lower because they could just go, well, at stations they give you worse prices when you're actually selling. But it could just be that they'll balance this moderately well and there'll just be different opportunities. I am really interested to know what you think of the Hull C and what's going to happen. Do you expect it's going to cause terrible economy issues? Do you think there's going to be more cargo overhauls coming with 3.20 in the Hull C? Do you have a Hull C and you're keenly awaiting its release in 3.20? Or are you a pirate or salvager looking forward to looting them? CIG have recently given us some more updates on the SanTokYai medium fighter as well. So the ship is intended for release later this year. Obviously, it hasn't made Alien Week. It's not ready yet. They just failed a grey box review, which happens when something isn't finished or not to spec or needs fixing, or sometimes it might just not be in line with visions or expectations of what they wanted. So in this case, it's due to more work being required on the cockpit dashboard. Exterior grey box is mostly complete, along with animations. They're polishing the landing and in-flight animations as well. They are about to start material work, but they do need to wait until that cockpit dashboard is done and they've got through that grey box gate. They roughly said that this might take up to like 3 weeks because they want to establish the look of the dashboard and then get it implemented. This will also help to establish the look of Aopoa in general and the Xi'An sort of fighters. Eventually the dashboard updates will make its way to the Kar-2 Scout as well. So Xi'An tech is very focused on anti-grav and grav-lev tech, which is something that most Xi'An ships will share in common. They want to have the ship feeling like a living creature. Their ships are very unique in the way they look and fly for Xi'An. You can currently grab a SanTokYai and a Kar-2 as part of Alien Week, so there's an Alien Week ship sale on at the moment. There's some skins and stuff like that too. There was a Tumbril Storm Q&A, which I'd like to summarize from Cloud Imperium as well. So this is for the new light single operator assault tank that's currently in development. It is in concept. It's not flyable yet, along with the SanTokYai not flyable yet. I believe it's going through its grey box phase at the moment, and we may see it, in fact quite likely going to see it, released later this year. So what vehicles would the Storm fit inside? It shares the same garage size as the Tumbril Nova and the Anvil Atlas platform vehicles, so anything that supports them. However, it does also have a reduced height and length, so it'll fit in many more ships beyond that, such as the Carrack and the Drake Corsair. How does the Nova compare to the Storm? The two tanks operate vastly different roles. The Storm is smaller, faster, and lightly armed, while the Nova is much larger and slower but packs more of a punch and is a multi-crew vehicle. If you were assaulting artillery or speeds of the essence, then the Storm's going to be a better choice, probably. It has pretty good armor as well, because it's still a tank. In terms of durability, it sits between the Nova and the Centurion and has significantly more than like an Ursa. Also, the Storm's depression and elevation ranges for its gun turret, they're better than the Nova, allowing you to hit things on the ground almost directly in front and to the side of the vehicle. To achieve this, the turret extends up a little when the vehicle powers on. Will the bespoke size 3 weapon have the same upscaled damages for its size, similar to other vehicles? So like the size 5 Slayer cannon that the Nova has does 18.5k alpha damage when it's shot, boom, while other size 5 ballistic cannons only do like 1500, so there's obviously a huge amount of damage disparity there. Yes, like the Nova, the size of the weapon doesn't truly follow the same systems given its bespoke nature, allowing for independent tuning, which puts it at much higher alpha and DPS than it would normally have if it was just a standard size 3 weapon. Does mean you can't pull that weapon off the Nova or the Storm and put it on a different vehicle or ship though. Does it have any additional ways to fight off small targets like infantry, since it doesn't have a size 1 anti-personnel repeater or anything like that? No, ideally, like modern life, you don't want infantry getting too close to armoured vehicles, but if you find yourself in this scenario, we recommend using the speed of the vehicle to get distance between you and the infantry and then use your turret weapon. The specs state that the Storm has a remote operated turret. Can the Storm fire while in motion? Yes, the driver can control the turret while on the move or stationary. Whilst moving, the view limits are constrained to the front arc of the vehicle. When in remote view, you have the full 360 range and the turret can shoot in any direction. Will this vehicle have countermeasures like noise and flares? Yes, it will have a full countermeasures suite as found on other vehicles. How fast is the Storm? All stats are subject to change, but expect the Storm to be faster than the Nova and Atlas series and closer to the Ursa in speed. That's pretty fast. As tanks are intended to be off-road vehicles, will the sort of low-looking ground clearance of the Storm cause issues for traversal? The Storm has relatively good ground clearance, especially compared to the Nova, and its design allows for much greater arrival departure angles without hitting the hull. The brochure indicates there's personal weapon storage, but the pictures suggest that there might also be personal inventory space in the rear track. Is this the case? There's personal weapon storage in one of the front track housings and personal inventory space near the driver's entrance. The rear of the main body contains crucial components, including the power plant, cooler, serial generator, while the other front track houses less critical components like radar, computer, and battery. A single size 0 power plant seems very underpowered when compared to other vehicles. Will it be enough for the Storm? This is something we'll expand upon in the future, but the upcoming resource network changes have given us opportunity to re-evaluate the sizes and quantities of items aboard all vehicles. So new vehicles can seem under-spec'd relative to existing vehicles, but in reality, they will operate effectively as designed. Some vehicles will also have items reduced to be more in line with the upcoming changes. Boom! That's it for your ship and vehicle updates today. Are you excited for the Hull C and Alpha 3.20? Have you been playing in Alpha 3.19.1 live? What are you thinking of that patch so far? Do you own or want a SanTokYai? What about the Storm? Do you think we will see it later this year, and do you prefer it over the Nova tank? Whatever your thoughts, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below.
Let me tell you a story from the book of NordVPN/BoredGamer. There were 3 little pigs who all needed internet access. One used a VPN made of straw, one used a VPN made of wood, and one used NordVPN, which is basically bricks in this analogy. Along came an elite hacker wolf and smashed up the houses of the first 2 piggly wigglies, but was unable to breach the NordVPN house, which is just much better than straw or wood for protecting you from internet things like wolves and hackers. The moral of this story is get nordvpn.com/boredgamer or click the links below for powerful discounts that might make your friends think you're an internet wizard or something.
Also, that wolf went to prison for 10 years on an unrelated crime. Maybe it was like not liking or subscribing or something? Every month we have a ship giveaway for June 2023. That's going to be for an RSI Constellation Andromeda. This hybrid cargo gunship is perfect for small crews of up to 4. It comes with a P-52 Merlin snub fighter as well, along with lifetime insurance and game access. All you need to start playing Star Citizen. And all you have to do to be in for a chance of winning that is comment on any of my videos made during the month. More details in the video description below. If you would like to further support the channel, please consider pressing the join button under my videos for exclusive membership to the channel, or become a Patreon. I've already got a load of lovely people that do that, and it really goes a long way in allowing us to make daily content. Thank you so much to my channel members and Patreons, but thank you so much for just liking, subscribing, commenting, and watching my videos. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the verse.